Hello everybody and welcome to another video tutorial. So for this week's tutorial, it is quite a bit different from most weeks in that the request that was voted on was that I actually base a character design off an existing cartoon animation that's been seen on TV. So the request did include information that I needed to at least base some aspects of the character design on some very specific attributes for a very specific character in the program. Now, without making this actual fan art and by actually creating a completely different design, I did approach the design slightly differently. As you can see, I'm actually drawing this by hand. The reason for this is because I did take animation for a number of years. It's easier for me to come up with concepts that are based off the Bruce Timm style of drawing, which is gets its name basically off the original Batman series. So this style of drawing tends to have very angular features to it, very concise curves, very specific attributes that makes it very unique for that time period, because most drawings at that time were much more curvy in comparison. But for animation purposes, this made it a lot easier to draw. Now, since I was going to be doing the Bruce Timm style, but it did still kind of need to fit into the Ben 10 like mythos surrounding the TV show, I had to look at reference material, obviously, to make sure that the character would actually fit. Now, since this was supposed to be a female alien design, I couldn't copy, obviously, an existing design, but I could take inspiration and loosely base some design aspects off it. So the basic alien design that everything was based off of was the Alien XIR8 design. Now, this creature seems to have almost a rollerblading-like effect to him. So I used that as a standpoint from which to start off my design from. So when I started this, I started looking at rollerblade reference material, looked at the helmets that were similar to this. Since this was obviously female, I needed to get some female reference model sheets online as well to get a general idea of how to construct anatomically the actual character design. So right now I'm actually working on the costume portion, and that's because I've already worked out the basic structure of the character, so I already have the building blocks for the character, and now I'm adding the costume on top. The reason why I add the costume on top is to make sure that the elements do wrap around the body correctly, and I can also fine-tune the design elements to better fit what I need it to. So by taking the bicycle referencing and especially the helmet designs that are used by most extremely high speed cyclists or disciplines that require a helmet for head protection, I noticed that a lot of them had a very slender, sleek look. Now, I did need to break up still the silhouette for this character just to make it more interesting, because I didn't want to keep it too close, obviously, to the reference material that I was using to fit into the style of drawing that it needs to. So right now I'm actually adding the final lines in graphite. The reason why I'm doing that is because I'm actually going to bring this entire drawing into Illustrator afterwards. So I'm not using Photoshop for this drawing. The main reason why I'm using Illustrator is because it allows me to add vectorized lines, and there is a feature in it that allows me to add line weight very easily in comparison to Photoshop, where I have to painstakingly delete and erase aspects, whereas Illustrator is better designed for things that are like this. As you can see, I've just brought into Illustrator, and what I'm actually doing is I'm actually using the pen tool in this to draw the basic line and then change the thickness of the line and change the weighting attributes to it. Because in Illustrator you can actually choose to have the line start really thin and then end thin as well, but get really thick in the center. There's some variations to that where it can get thin, somewhat bulgy, and then thin again, and then bulgy again and thin. So it gives me a lot of variety in how I can actually approach the line weight. And I've used this in the past, and this does save a lot of time. Rather than wasting a bunch of time trying to use the pen tool and like concisely cut out all the lines, for a character there's no need for this, because I've already decided exactly what lines I wanted to have in the drawing. All I need to do is actually just use the basic tools that are in Illustrator to finish up the lines. Once this part is done, then I'm actually going to color it as well in Illustrator, once again, because this in Illustrator is just easier to do everything in there. Now, if I was doing a model sheet like this, which I haven't done in quite a while, I would probably do more than one pose and put them on the same sheet. Since I don't have a name for this character, you'll see at the end I've actually added a name to the character and all that. I'll show you the final model sheet I've created essentially for this character. Now it only has a one pose as of now, mainly because I'm not going in and fine-tuning and doing head rotations and character rotations for this character. There's no need for the purposes of this demo. This entire image was very short. It took about 4 hours in total, so that includes both the traditional aspect of me drawing it out, as well as bringing it into Illustrator and finishing it up. So this entire process is extremely quick, mainly because of the type of flow that I have for this type of image. It does help maximize my output so that I'm not wasting too much time on a drawing, but I do get a very finalized image that looks fairly decent and could actually be used in a model sheet afterwards. Just finish up the rollerblades. I played a bit with the design of the rollerblades because I originally had some additional details, but once I turned off and on my original sketch, I found that those details were just too distracting, so I ended up removing them entirely. I'm just coloring in the character right now. I've actually set up essentially some basic colors that I'm able to use, and I'm just playing around with the colors until I come with what you see here in the final image design. So I hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial, and I hope to see you guys soon, so thank you and take care.